So Ralph, I've heard about the new book, Agile Strategy.
Yes.
Very excited for you. I have to ask you a question.
Yeah.
So I heard that you're not a big fan of the term agile, yet you're writing a book called Agile Strategy.
Yeah.
So what's going on with that?
I think agile is one of those kind of tricky terms. So I think it runs the risk of being kind of exhausted by casual overuse, if you like. But when you look at the kind of fundamental principle of agility and the idea of being able to adapt quickly, I think it's increasingly fundamental to the success of many businesses that are operating in more challenging or dynamic markets.
It's what everyone wants.
Exactly. So I think from my perspective, whilst I'm a reluctant adopter of the term, I'm a wholehearted embracer, if you like, of the principles that sit behind agility.
Sure.
And for me, the interesting thing is the practicality of it. So how do you transform commercial performance through the practical application of agility?
So yeah, where do you get started with that? I guess it's something everybody wants. How do you ingrain that into your strategic planning process?
I think the interesting point is whether it's a process at all or whether it's something different, and we'll come to that, I think, hopefully in a moment. But for me, it starts with being clear on the definition of what we mean by agility. And for me, it's really three components. I think the first of those is responsiveness, and I think that's what most people think about when they think about agility. It's the ability to respond quickly to changes within your business or within your markets. And the second of those is adaptability. And what I mean by that is if you think about the scenarios available to you, either a change happens in your market or in your business and you're already geared up to respond to it, or in that kind of second scenario, actually something fundamentally needs to change within your operating model, whether it's people, processes, systems, data, etc., to allow you to be able to respond. And that the speed and efficacy with which you can do that second part is what adaptability is all about. And then the third component after responsiveness and adaptability is obviously then control, because I think the danger is often the case that people can respond or a little bit haphazardly or inconsistently to the changes that are happening around them. But actually you need consistency in how you respond so that you remain true to the business's overall strategy and its brand.
How does this framework apply to a company that's going through a digital transformation journey, for example?
Sure. Well, certainly from my perspective, the idea of separating out strategy, digital and operations is no longer really relevant in an environment where actually those are tightly bound together. And often in the traditional way of setting strategy, you will develop commercially in terms of vision, mission, and values, and then look at how technology can contribute towards it later on in the process. Whereas for me, the exploration of the potential of technology and how that translates and informs your strategy needs to happen all the way through it. So it starts at the beginning, and through having this kind of monthly testing and challenging of your strategy and the adoption and the adapting of those changes, it allows you to then bring in technologies as and when they become practical and useful to do so.
And then use those as part of how you define your assumptions and risks and ensure that it's still valid to think about.
Absolutely. So for example, in some of those cases, the assumption might be right now technology X is not suitable for the business, but we anticipate it being possible in 6 to 12 months to commercialize. You can then start to test that and say, actually now's the time for me to start to roll this out because my competition are still not sure, but we have confidence because we've been measuring it.
Interesting. And benefits, I mean, how has this changed the outcome for businesses if it's implemented correctly?
I mean, ultimately it expresses itself in pretty measurable outcomes in terms of financial performance, but there are a couple of other elements that underpin that. I mean, the first, it gives you an enhanced competitive position. You're more responsive than your competitors. I think secondly as well, it gives you it de-risks things for the organization as well, because it allows you to anticipate and to move later and make those decisions later in the process. And ultimately, it's about being able to engage and focus the organization so that to increase that likelihood of success.
Yeah, fascinating. Ralph, I am very excited about the book. Congratulations for getting it out there. And folks can find it out on Amazon, I'm assuming?
They can, absolutely, yeah.
Agile Strategy, Ralph Fernando. Congrats.
Thanks, Joe.